Apologies for the late video. I didn't get to post it last night because I didn't watch the game last night. I mean, I watched bits and pieces of it here and there, but Thursday nights are tough when there's a game because it's a bit chaotic around our house because my parents normally come over and watch James because my wife is at the gym that night. I don't get home till, well after dinner time. And he's also got ball hockey on Thursday nights, so they take him to his game and bring him back and give him dinner and stuff like that. So they're here when I get back, and I talk to them for a while. And then also it's my video game night with my buddy Simon later on in the night. So it's really tough to sit down and watch any stretch of a hockey game on Thursday nights. But this was a huge win for the Leafs for a couple of reasons. They were in Ottawa, and as weak as Ottawa is, they're one of the weakest teams in the league. Obviously not as weak as Buffalo. There's nobody weaker than them. But at least in Ottawa there's hope because they're trying to build something. Whereas in Buffalo, no matter what they try and build, it all falls apart. And you know what? I'm glad because I hate the Sabres. They're usually a divisional rival of the Leafs. And they always seem to have the Leafs number. No matter which team's bad or good, or they're both bad or they're both good or whatever, the Leafs always had this block against beating them, and because of that, big rivalry there, and I've just learned to hate that team. So I love to see their misfortune this year. Too bad for guys like Taylor Hall and stuff like that, who I do like, but otherwise, I love it. Now, that's getting a little off topic, but the Senators, my point is the Senators, they are rebuilding, but even though they're bad right now, no matter how bad they are in the last few years, they always seem to give the Leafs trouble. They actually perform very well against the Leafs and have a pretty good record against them. So it's really frustrating, especially since they're the Senators. One of the teams I very much hate, just like Buffalo, right? So last night was a big win just to go into Ottawa and beat this team that gives them so much troubles. Like I said, I didn't get to see much of the game, but other than a stretch in maybe the back half of the second period or whatever, the Leafs really controlled the tempo of the game and the pace of the game and were the better team and got lots of chances. Ottawa's goaltending troubles this year have been well documented. I'm 13 and going through puberty. So they had a guy named Anton Forsberg, is it? I don't know. But their fifth or sixth goalie they've used this year because they've had so much trouble with injuries and whatnot. And so he was making his first start of the year. His fourth team of the year, I believe, that he's been on. So he got in and played pretty well against the Leafs. And Ottawa actually got on the board first, right near the end of the first period with a little more than a minute left. Jack Campbell got the start for the Leafs because Freddie had been injured and not playing well for the Leafs, but Jack had been playing so well, and then got injured, and but he came back and he'd had 2 shutouts in a row up until this game, and unfortunately he went out to play the puck behind the net, and he was looking good. He didn't like what he saw, so he went back in behind the net and then was going to ring it around the boards, but he just waited a bit too late, and the Ottawa forechecker got his stick on the puck, and just when Jack went to clear it around the boards, it hit that stick and then popped right out into the slot. And then Connor Brown, the former Leaf, was able to pop it into the empty net. So Jack kind of shot himself in the foot there. Fortunately, in the second period, with a little over 5 minutes left, the Leafs would draw even. So it's nice to see them get that back for Jack. And it was a neat play. It was the Leafs had 3 guys crossing the blue line, and then I believe it was Hyman on the right wing who had control of it, and he put it towards the net, shooting for the stick of TJ Brodie, the defenseman, who was rushing right up the middle, and Brodie was able to get his stick on it, and it kind of tipped it high, and Mikheyev was the guy on the far side that was going right to the net, and it went off Brodie's stick and then hit Mikheyev right up here and then into the net. And for some reason they went to review it. I don't know if they thought it went off. Like, I don't even know if they thought it went off his stick and his stick was high, but his stick wasn't that high anyways. And so they went to review to try and they called it no goal on the play, and then so they went to review afterwards and then determined it was a good goal. So it's like Mikheyev is this big Russian dude who is so fast and so likable and so good. He's been so good for the Leafs, but he's been snake bitten when it comes to scoring. Like, he just stick breaks, or the goalie robs him, or he shoots wide, or he can't quite finish, whatever. He gets all these chances, generates so much with his speed. And then of course he scores kind of a lucky goal, but a good goal, and then they automatically wave it off on, like, it's just like this guy's probably like, what the hell do I have to do, right, to score a goal? So it was good to see them overturn that, and that drew the Leafs even at 1. And then in the third period, again the Leafs took over control of the game. Fuck, right? Shots ended up 41-31 in the end. Like, the Leafs really did have control of this game for 99% of it, right? And in the third period, they would strike first. It was Spezza, who I had in my Tim Hortons hockey picks. So I finally have broken my streak of 4 days in a row of no picks correct. So that's nice. It was just a simple play. Kerfoot had gained the zone. It was just sitting high along the right side boards, and just dropped it back to Spezza, who had crossed the blue line, and he just stepped into a one-timer from a ways out. And I think it hit an Ottawa player or something and wobbled a bit and then made its way through. So the Leafs had a 2-1 lead. Unfortunately, they would give it back, and it was another Jack Campbell miscue. He came out to play the puck in front of the net off to his right, and couldn't get there in time, so then had to retreat back into the net. And before he could get set and back in the net, an Ottawa player, Formanton, a former London Knight, caught up to it and then slipped it through the 5-hole. So 2-2, and which sent the game eventually to overtime. So in the overtime period, the Leaf goal that ended it was kind of insane. It was Ottawa tried to clear the puck up through the neutral zone, but Matthews was able to kind of just get in the way of it, and it bounced off his, I don't know, shin pad or his pants or something like that. And he was able to gain control of it and cut in off the right side, make a dirty move to get around the Ottawa defenseman and cut across the crease. And watching the highlights, I thought, oh, this is the winning goal, right? But then the goalie friggin' robbed him. I'm like, are you kidding me? But right after, the puck kind of went loose in behind the net or whatever, and Marner picked it up and swooped in around and then threw it out into the slot for Justin Holl, who was creeping in from the blue line, and he was just left alone from 10, 15 feet out or whatever, and just wired it home. And the defenseman scores the goal and ends the game. So huge win, like I said, because they have such trouble against Ottawa. It was also a big win for Jack Campbell because with how good he's been in his limited starts this year, it's kind of caused a bit of a goaltending controversy in Toronto, which happens anytime a guy struggles or whatever. And Freddie has not been great lately. So I really like Jack Campbell. I think he's more than capable of taking the load from Freddie if that's what needs to happen, which is nice because you got two really good goalies. You're not just relying on a big horse, and then if he goes down, you're like, oh shit, what do we do, right? And I like Freddie Anderson. I love Freddie Anderson, and he's a great goalie and all, but I really like Jack Campbell. I just like his... I've commented on this before. I really like his positive energy, his demeanor, the way he's always building guys up during the game, tapping them on the pants, on the pads with his stick, always talking, And some of the commentators mentioned this after his last win, that you see the guys are much more excited at the end of the game to go back to that goalie and be excited for the win and yeah, not that they're not excited for Freddie and to get the win, but it's just Jack's different kind of personality, I think, makes a team kind of more invested in that goalie's success, something like that. I don't know. But and you could tell after he let that first one in, when he had the miscue behind the net, like he kind of had turned around at the net and was sipping his water bottle and kind of contemplating, oh, I fucked that up, right? And then John Tavares came right back to him, and you could tell he was talking to him like, don't fucking worry about it, we'll get it back, like, so I really like the fact that despite those two kind of miscues he had, and which resulted in the 2 goals, he was able to push through and get the win, and the guys did it for him, right? And that they wanted to, right? So if he hadn't misplayed those 2 pucks, he would have had a shutout. That would have been 3 in a row, right? So this guy's the real deal, and I really like his attitude and his demeanor, and that's something that's a little personal to me because I didn't start playing hockey till grade 12. I was a shy only child as a kid. Team sports wasn't really my jam. As much as I did want to play hockey, it was kind of intimidating and that sort of thing. So it was a big step to start my hockey career in grade 12, and I wasn't good. So But in the number of years, because I played after in men's leagues and stuff like that, and in the number of years that I did play, you know, I found that the teammates that you loved playing with the most were the guys that were unselfish, always happy and joking around and positive. And, if you make a mistake, they're not like, what the fuck, man? Like, what do we even have you for, right? Like, you get those guys that are like that. They're selfish. They're puck hogs, they got a bad attitude. They almost start bickering amongst the team, right? And it's like, so like I hated playing with guys like that. I'd rather be on a shitty team full of good guys than a good team full of mostly pricks, right? So when I see my favorite hockey team employ guys like Jack Campbell who have such good attitudes and stuff like that, it makes me happy to see guys like that on this team, and for the other guys on the team to be so invested in their success and stuff, right? So I really like the fact that they're kind of giving him the chance right now to play some games and maybe help support this supposed goaltender controversy that's going on. So so overall a good night for the Leafs, and they got Edmonton next, and with that little losing streak they had, which they only really played one bad game throughout those 5 or 6 games, however many they lost, they should have a much better record right now than they do. Either record is still really good, but it should be even higher. There should be more separation at the top of that division, but that's the way hockey works, right? And before the game last night, we had 3 teams tied at 42 at the top of the division: the Leafs, the Oilers, and the Jets. So that win last night puts them 2 points ahead for now, and they go in and play 2 games in a row against Edmonton next. So if they can go in and manhandle them again like they did last time over those 3 games, and win a couple against Edmonton, that'll help maybe create a bit more separation like they had only a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago, whenever that was. So a couple big games coming up, but so far trending in the right direction. They look like they're kind of getting back to their normal selves, and let's hope I'm correct on that. So until next time.